for a brand to be all encompassing, it needs a symbol, it needs a logo, it needs an icon. And that's when he coined the word cycle. Today, we are a well known mark, and we've been with India Sprays since 1948. The most important thing in a family business is to be very ethical and to be very financially prudent. And my father and uncles, who then took over responsibility from my grandfather, just built a solid foundation. And they're the ones who have actually seen the struggles, seen the sacrifices, and built the enterprise that is today.
While the first generation builds the business, right, from the grassroots, the second generation takes it forward, they scales it. What would you think a third generation entrepreneur or a family business leader would ideally be doing? Is it reinvention? Is it just the maintenance of what is going on, or what exactly it is?
The biggest understanding that any generation should have is that we are custodians of a legacy.
Correct.
We have to take care of it, perpetuate it, sustain it, and then pass it forward. And you never ever think that it is a privilege, rather think of it as a responsibility.
So my first generation, the four brothers, one looked after finance and marketing, the other looked after academics, one looked after faculty recruitment, training, handling, etc., and the last one looked at uh, general administration, vigilance, governance, etc. And that's how they scaled. But the next generation, which is us, like I look after a separate business, which is international business. One of my cousins looks after digital, the other one looks after the entire infrastructure piece, and the fourth one looks after the study abroad segment. So I mean, it's quite similar how it has been working for us as well. But yeah, I mean, to draw reference, if we were to work the way our previous generation worked, I still feel we might have more different opinion set, other than collectively scaling up, unlike uh, the other companies do, where this after generation they are just collectively working together. And yeah, but we have also transformed into the largest test prep company in India so far. So yeah, that has worked for us. But what I want to understand is, even in the current structure that you have, there would be some disagreements, difference in opinions, right? Even it could either be at a board level, or it could be at some level of operations as well. So how much of that gets resolved within the business ecosystem itself, or does it also have some overlay in the family as well? Like,
We did have the family involved about 10 years ago. Today we are the elders, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm almost past 50 now. Pavan has also, Kiran's going to soon. So we have already grown quite a bit, and dad and uncle are taking care of our foundation and trust, and all of that. So they are in their own space right now. So we don't trouble them too much with operational matters. But the way we are structured, right? Each of us take care of one business
Right.
vertical, and in that the CEO is the decision maker ultimately in operationals. Where we may have difference of opinions, which we do, is on what to do with our investments on the group level portfolio.
Correct.
What to do with some allocation, what to do with some planning, if some company requires something more at that level. So we have kind of decided that we will work on consensus, where all of us agree. Even if one of us disagree, we don't move forward with that decision. Sometimes it's counterproductive. We may have let go of opportunities, but we end up staying together. The logic is, if we respect each other, and even if we can't convince one brother, how will we convince the market of the opportunity? Right? And so that's the method we have followed. Some families follow a system of voting. Right. So each family needs to figure out on a business decision making process, typically on investments, on real estate, on operational. If you are handling international business, you will take the call on international business, more or less, right? And as long as it's allocated budget and within that, and however you plan it, If you suddenly want to spend 10 times more, you see an opportunity, that's when debate arises, right? In which case, you have to convince all the other four cousins. And if one of them don't agree, you will not get that investment. In your case, if it was us, that's how we would have followed. And that's kind of what we've been following, and we've let go of a lot of opportunity as well, but we managed to stay together and being happy with the level at which we are, knock on wood. So but each family follows its own system and protocol on what to do if there is differences in typically investments, right? And that's where it kind of investments allocation, things like that.
So on a board, there is no majority or super majority. There is a consensus that you follow.
Yeah, at
Right?
our family level, which is the question you asked, right? The six brothers among us.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. We follow a simple majority.
Which is not, I mean, you know, typically three brothers will always stick to each other, and one will get cornered at some point of time, and that kind of brings dissent. But if that younger or the older brother realizes that and says, no, it is for the greater good, then, simple majority is fine too.
Yeah. See, I think don't you think in a consensus model, it comes down to, one family member either gets convinced or has to convince the other. It always gets down to that, right?
Yes.
And doesn't it create a bottleneck at,
So, see, the bottleneck is either business or family. We've chosen
at both?
Now, family it won't, because family kind of stays together, right? You move on.
Yeah.
You get the next opportunity. From a business standpoint, a good opportunity, which one of us believed in strongly, but another one felt it won't work, we lost that business opportunity now. Because we're a family business,
Yeah.
transitioning into becoming a business family, because we want to sustain and perpetuate. Opportunities come, right, within a business, new opportunity, investment is required, scalability, requires funding, all of that.
We have faced a lot of bottlenecks, uh, especially with respect to the decision making. I mean, when I say a lot, I mean just purely in terms of opportunity, right? Because the way to look at an opportunity for me or for my cousin would be very different, right? So yeah, that has sometimes resulted.
So there are methods that can be followed where you do a POC and then do a lower opportunity test and then come back. But when you are managing independent businesses and when there's a new business opportunity, right, everybody has to see that because the family is aligned and everybody is equal in terms of stake into that business.
Right. Uh, there are certain things, when you transition from a generation to the other, uh, comes at a comes at a decision point, right? Whether to keep it as is or whether to change it. For example, in my case, I would say if I when I was entering the business, right, there were certain processes with respect to, let's say, HR, right? They were followed for so many years, and when I had entered, I thought this is something would need a decent revamp. So the question is, how do you, takes how have you taken? I'm sure it's been so many years now for you in the business, but when you had joined earlier, right, when your second generation was active in the business, there were certain key things which you thought would need a change, but you also thought that these are quite sacred to be touched. So how did you uh, spoke about it to your previous generation, or in fact initiated a thread on that with your previous generation, that okay, these are the things which I think we should look at, and we should try to revamp, or the things which you completely decided, okay, this is something my grandfather has created, it has been running from that era, I cannot touch that. So what were those things and how have you approached them?
Well, firstly, I was not given any roadblock on any decision that I wanted to take once I came back. Dad or uncles never ever said that I can't change anything. Said you can change whatever you want, do whatever you take, but take responsibility for your decisions. We are here to advise, we are here to support. We had some senior employees, if they did not appreciate the decision I would take, would go to speak to my uncle or father. This is in 2003, 4. I just come back from 2000 to India in 2000, right? Then dad would then call them and say, please discuss and figure this out. Arjun has his ways and he would explain, and then that's it. So the way I was inducted into the business is very unique in the sense that I was given a project first. I was given two legacy brands that my grandfather used to manage. They were spun off into an independent company called Manmohak, with just 20 people. It was huge issues with cash flow management, creativity, getting the product to market. So that was given to me to manage. So I learned hands on. It was a fantastic learning experience for me for 2 years. Then I was given Northeast market and Maharashtra market, and I worked there for a couple of years. And slowly I was inducted into managing the entire business. I spent a lot of time in operations, set up our international operations as well for a couple of years. So I understood the business overall. I was mentored very well with smaller projects. So typically, when somebody comes new to the business, you need to give them smaller projects. You need to have a senior employee handhold, and typically not your father but your uncle, or not your brother but your cousin, if it's possible, to support you. So you learn and you understand. So you get the basic methodology of functioning. I'll give you a few examples of change. Sure. Okay. HR is something that I attacked to first. It was very simple in our business. My dad would call a senior employee. He would sit with my dad. Dad will say, "Give me your 3 year, what you want salary." He'll say, "This year I am at 1 lakh. Next year I want 25% growth in salary. I will 1.25. Then I want 30%. I want this. He'll write. And dad will say, "Okay, what will you do in terms of performance as well? You only decide what you want to do, what the company should give you. You know the company, everything's an open book." So they'll then say, "Okay, this is what I want to achieve." And end of the year, if they've done well, they'll come and say, "Give me the thing." If they've not done, it was very, very simple. Right? And each one would come and say, "Okay, this is my responsibility, this is what I'll do." It was fairly simple. Well, I attended this HR training program and all that, and I said, "No, I want to put a performance management system in the company. We'll have a performance-based incentive. We'll do this, we'll do that. We'll have even scale. We'll have A1, A2, A3, all of that stuff.
Ratings and everything.
Yeah. So now every year it's become a negotiation with the staff. Literally, he got so much, I got less. This got that much. This is this much. It has become such a pain of changing one simple system. Now, each one was accountable for what they asked for, each one was accountable for what they committed to deliver. Today, the entire delivery and commitment is on my head. It's not on their head now, right? It's a simple change that we did, learning from the West on all of these HR policies that you read about on people management, which may not apply in a family business that is working. Correct. So not everything that the previous generations have created is bad. Yeah. On the other hand, I moved out of Tally, which was good product, went to Microsoft, and now we are on SAP across the organization. I bought in a huge amount of digital transformation, put our data center. Many people ask for Agarbathi business, why do you need all of that? I said, no, I'm fulfilling a mother's prayers for her child. What technology I should use, everything at my disposal to give them the best possible product at the right time, at the right place, right? So keeping that in mind, I brought in a lot of tech into the organization. We have an in-house development team. We build a lot of products, to help, our people do their job better. So that was the right decision to take, to change a lot of traditional systems and processes. See, what you got to remember is, as we start, looking at traditional businesses, learning from the West, once we get it, like I'm an engineer and MBA, right? I have a very, very analytical mind. We tend to start building process for everything. Correct. Typically, entrepreneurs that build businesses, like our second generation did, or founders who build businesses, they think a lot on their feet. They are forced to take decisions at crisis point. Our generation that already inherits a business tend to build process. We'll do a kappa, corrective and preventive action, to see that that mistake is not repeated again, create a process, a structure, and put accountability and SOP and a measurement parameter, and we run. Typically what happens is, once you start putting too much process to everything, curiosity reduces within an organization. Curiosity is the start of creativity. Creativity is what leads to innovation and thinking and kaizen. That's continuous improvement. As family businesses, we are ustads in innovation when the founder is involved and running it. But as we start building process to scale and start pushing down innovation down the stream, Unless we create a curiosity and a creative mindset within the organization, innovation will die. It'll all come back to you to innovate. What was happening in your previous generation will slowly stop happening in the next generation. And that is one of the biggest reasons why family businesses are unable to sustain and perpetuate, because the creativity, what was inertly within the founder, that was within that core team that they were working with, goes down because you over engineered your process, and creativity kind of took a backseat because curiosity wasn't even there. ये बोला है वो कर रहे हैं बस.
Correct.
Right? And you'll start seeing in your conversations with your staff itself, your first question will be, did you send email? All right. And that's when you know you need to take a step back and say, oh my God, what have I done to this organization?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I'm just giving you as an example because you said about change from generation. So this is the biggest change that our generation does to something that was working in the previous generation, where they did not have these tools of technology and communication, where they actually had to write on a piece of paper and explain to the next person. All right. And that's why if you see the level of innovation and creativity, thought process that earlier generations did, or founders today are doing in our businesses itself, right? New founders that have come in and started parallel businesses, you see that they're able to do a lot more because of the level of involvement and the leanness in thought that they've built into the organization, not over engineered and over processed. Great companies are able to manage that, right? They're able to create nuclear systems within an organization that work like founders within the organization and things like that. So we are, as a country, just 75 years into independence, we are slowly getting into the third generation as well as a country, and we will start seeing this as a country also, where we try to over engineer a few processes and then we'll see that we're getting stuck.
No, I completely agree with you. Completely agree, because within my business also, I've heard so many times that process is there, but the business is not coming because the whole energy has gone into setting up the process, but not generating the business, right? And I cannot disagree more. Sorry, I cannot agree more. It's so I mean relevant, and it's so important to acknowledge this, that within the family businesses that India is seeing right now, the more newer generation is entering, they are tending more towards what you so call process over people. While I do not completely disagree with the fact, but I also feel that people are equally important, just to keep, like you said, the curiosity alive.
My production manager started as a office boy. He manages production of 12 billion Agarbathi sticks today. He's 10th pass. I mean, family. So these things I didn't change.
Yeah.
Even today, I love building people within the organization. Seldom do I get people from outside. I think also what is important is to understand generation to generation's leadership style as well, right? If you look at my father and uncles, they had extreme amount of patience. Patience with the people that was working with them. And me as a person in itself, I'm always in a bit of a hurry to get to the solution. Literally, when anybody comes to me to talk about something, they more or less come to me only if they have a problem. So they have a mindset that they have to give me a build up before they tell me the problem. So I always tell my people, don't tell me anything else, just tell me what the problem is. Right? Start from the last. What you want to tell me last, tell me that first. And typically that's how I have been operating. So what has now happened, which my dad always warned me, is that your responsibility is to ensure that if they get the problem the next time, they're able to solve it themselves. So if anybody goes to my dad with a problem, he'll never solve it for them. He'll ask them to explain. He will explain to them. He'll send them. He'll ask them to come back again. If that solution is so simple, if they come with a tire puncture, he will not tell them get a jack and repair it. No. He will tell them, find out where you drove the car. Find out what type of model the car is. What was the weight distribution? What brand of tire was used. So he will tell them everything else except get a jack and change the tire. Wow. I'm the kind of guy who will say, okay, give me the jack, I'll change the tire for you. Okay? And move on fast, get to the destination quickly. Yeah. See, that's my style of functioning, which is now I've realized. Now, some newcomers or people, who have gotten accustomed to a certain way of working. Not everybody is like that in the organization. They'll come to me and say, "Sir, please come and change the tire." Okay, which my dad warned me. Okay,
Mm.
right. So style of functioning as a leader in a family business, there are some things that you need to understand comes with experience that you cannot discount. Many things that today, right? It's 25 years now. I think, oh my God, dad was right. He used to tell me, if there's a new product that you're launching, don't put your cycle logo prominently on the brand, on the product. Marketing intuition and brand agencies tell us the reverse. You're launching a new product,
Yeah, yeah,
cycle
absolutely.
bada dikhna ekdam.
Absolutely.
Dad used to always say, listen, for whatever reason, if the market doesn't accept the product, they'll say cycle pehla jaisa nahi hai. So don't do that. If the product successful, customer accepts, then you put the cycle logo. It's such a simple thing. Your brand should carry some value, right? So it's simple things like that that I really today, hold to testament. These are endearing things that you learn
Yeah,
from
yeah.
your earlier generation. We take so many things for granted, but as you start, growing up within an organization, you start realizing that there is so much of worth within the second generation or the generation before you that you need to figure out, right? And this is a lesson for all family business, including yours. Please start documenting these stories from your earlier generation. Folklore is the only way you can pass on values and culture to your employees. You have to be able to tell stories. Like I told you about my grandfather, my father. That's the only way you can actually communicate. And that's the easiest way to tell people family business sustenance. Okay. Folklore, like, we hear Infosys, how Mr. Narayan Murthy did all the sacrifices and how Azim Premji ji, did all of that. Even our own prime minister is an example of creating a legacy of of communicating what the country stands for, right? Everything is a story, everything is communicated clearly. And for our employees, that's the only inspiration they need most of the time, which has already happened in family business.
Right.
From 1948 it's happening for us. And as generations, we are custodians of that, and it is our responsibility to tell that story.
Super. So we have an important section in the podcast. It's the rapid fire round, where I will ask a few questions and I would request you to just answer as soon as you can. Question one: one thing only a family business kid will understand.
One thing only a family business kid will understand. It's not a fun question at all.
Just
Yeah,
anything, whatever that is on the top of your head.
that for your success is completely dependent on your wife.
Okay. Question two: what's your father's reaction when you disagree with them
What disagreement?
in a family business for a family business
The
thing?
answer was that.
Okay.
How can you
Okay.
ever disagree with your father?
All right. Okay. What's your father's reaction when you're right about something?
When are you ever right about anything with your father? You're
Okay.
only learning every time. There's no right or wrong.
Right. Okay. Question three: craziest feedback you have gotten from a family member about your work?
You work too hard.
Okay. Question four: one thing you'll keep from the old way and one thing you will never go back to.
But I'll keep everything from the old way. There's nothing I'll never go back to. Because the old way is the gold way.
Wow.
But
Okay.
I'll make it new in
Yeah.
whatever way I can.
Last question: if your family business was a movie or OTT, which one would it be?
I've never thought about that. It's very interesting. I'd actually be the director, producer, and the screenplay writer of my own movie.
Okay.
Probably, yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Arjun, for joining us on Keshav Connect today. I think one thing that I've taken as a learning today is that no matter which generation you are in, there is always a reinvention that you can bring on the table, irrespective of what the previous generation has built. And that is very enlightening. And the second, which is the most important thing, is that uh, not everything that your previous generation has done has to be reviewed, changed, and looked upon in a way that this is not my way of doing things. So thank you so much for joining. It has been a
Yeah.
great honor to having
And
you.
one thing I'd like to say is I've realized that our country is on a great path.
Yeah.
The next 10, 15 years is just going to be amazing. Okay. It's going to be defined by technology. The way quantum computing is at the front end,
Right.
data is available, connectivity is going to be amazing. It's just out there for family businesses to grab the
Yeah.
opportunity.
Absolutely.
Support each other, take care of your brothers, sisters as best as you can. Who else do you want to work for if not for family, right?
Yeah.
So I wish everybody the very best of luck. Thanks for this opportunity. Please
Thank you so much.
spread the story of the importance of family business and its sustenance.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Jai Hind.
Thank you. Jai Hind.